And this is kind of the cream of the crop. This is the folding rule that you want, right? So the cool thing about this is now you can fold this all up. Oh, all right on, folks. John Crane here in my shop, and today we're going to go over some wooden folding rules. I tell you, when I was a kid and I'd fool around with these in my dad's shop, I probably broke a whole bunch of these by doing this, but this was always like the funnest tool in the shop to play around with, just because it was so cool that you could fold it out like that, right? Probably breaking all my dad's tools. I know I certainly left a lot of tools out in the rain. All right, but today's video is going over a whole bunch of these folding rules. And now in these modern times, right, everyone's using a tape measure, and we even have tape measures that have flashlights on them now. Some have digital readouts. Some people are using lasers to measure things. I'm kind of an old school guy, I like my tape measure, but I also like these old folding rules. These things are so cool, and they have some advantages depending on the job that you're working on. So let's come in. We'll take a closer look at these. I've got some really nice ones. I got this one here. We're going to save this for last. This one was given to me by a friend of the channel here, Tom Dale. This is a cool one. We're going to go over that one last. All right, but let's come in and take a closer look at these rulers. All right, here's what I got laid out on the table. Some old, some new. We got some wooden ones. We even got some aluminum rulers, stainless steel. Here, I'm just throwing this in here for a little bonus. That's a little folding boxwood one. But here's kind of the classic. This one is not too old, but this is a Klein. And if we look at this, right, we just fold this open, right? But you can see on this one here reads left to right on that side. And the same thing here, if we look at this one, reads left to right. These all fold out to 6 feet, thereabouts. But if we look at this one, right, now this one, if we look at it, here is left to right when you're doing the measurement. But if we flip around and we look at this side here, now we got the numbers the right side up, and we're going from right to left. So this is a left-right, right-left wooden rule. And this is a nice one here. This is a Lukin. This first one we're looking at was a Klein, right? These are really popular with electricians. These are great for conduit and pipe. But let's look at this right here. Now this one, made in USA, Buffalo, New York, rustless rule, right? And this is a nice one. Boy, look at the wear and tear on this. I don't know where this came from, but this one was in somebody's pouch day in and day out. This has all the corners here rounded over. Here is another aluminum one, but this one is a Lukin. And you'd be surprised how accurate these rulers are. All right, here is another one. This is a Lukin steel rule, Saginaw, Michigan. I think this is missing some pieces. All right, but let's look at this one right here. This is a Lukin, and this is kind of the cream of the crop. This is the folding rule that you want, and it is the one you want because this one has the slide on it right here. This is an important feature here that I think sets these folding rules apart from a tape measure, is that you can measure inside dimensions. And this little sliding rule is great. Look how big this is compared to this. This one is a little bit thicker in size, a little bit heavier. That's because these are thicker, and I think that's to accommodate so they can get like this little kind of dovetail into this so they can add that little brass sliding rule. And it does say on these rulers, you can see right here, oil the joints. So it is saying to put a drop of oil. I've got right here a little bit of this fiend oil. So I'm going to put a little drop here and here, and then give these a little, oh yeah, that feels nice, right? That's like the Tin Man finally getting oil can, right? Getting a little oil after all those years out in the apple orchard. All right, so a big reason this is so nice is for these inside measurements with this little sliding rule. So I just clamped a couple blocks here to the bench, and right often what we're doing is we've got the tape measure and we're, rolling the tape measure into the corner. And a nice way to get a measurement is, how I like to do it, is grab a square. I know this is 4 inches. If I butt this up right here, I can see that the end of this is butting right up to that 16 7/16, right? So I know to add 4 inches, and we've got 20 7/16. But now if we do that here with our folding rule, and we fold this open, right? And maybe, yeah, that's about right, 3 sections. And you can see here on the end, 19 inches. So if we butt this up to our board, and then we slide our little rule out, right? So we got our 19, and then we're butting this up, and we can see here we've got 1 7/16 sticking out. So we just add that to our 19. So we have 20 7/16. That's pretty cool. That is a great little feature here on this type of folding rule. And that's why you want this kind and not the one that doesn't have that little sliding deal. All right, I know I was going to save this one here for last, but, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. But this is really cool. This comes from Tom Dale. I met up with him not too long ago in Seattle, and he gave me some tools, and this was included. And this is a super cool wooden ruler here. And this one, check this one out. This one is sliding. So instead of folding, right, this one slides out in sections one at a time. And to close it, you got to hit this little button right here. You want to hit that one first, then it hits all these in succession and you can close it. You don't want to yank this whole thing out because you'll break it. And I think a lot of these have been broken because of someone trying to pull the middle out, not getting it, and you jam it. Let's get to the cool features about this. This is an inside outside. So you see on this side of our ruler here, it says outside. So this is just for regular measurements, right? We just butt this up, or we take something from the outside and we get a number, right? Just kind of like a regular ruler. If we flip this over and we look on this side of the ruler, now this says inside measurement, and it says, see this little arrow? It says read here. And so what we want to do is we want to pull this out, and you see right here, 1 foot is what this is saying. So now we know that we've got 1 foot, 12 inches when that's pulled out. And we can read that right on our little deal. And if we pull this out again, right, 17, right, 2 feet, right? But to use this feature, this read here feature, so say again, we want to get in an inside measurement, right? So we open this up and then we expand this, right? And we touch that into that wall right there. And if we look down here, you can see our number, right? 20 7/16 is our number down there. That is pretty cool. So if we look over here on the numbers, right? 9, 10, 11, 12. You see it's reading backwards, right? On this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is going to give you that inside dimension. That is really cool. That is a lot quicker than trying to do that with the tape measure and with a little square, and it is a lot quicker here. You don't have to do the math like you do on this one here. All you got to do is read this one right in the center. So that's why this is such a nice ruler, right? And just a close up here, this is Interlox number 106. Master Rule Manufacturing Company, New York, made in USA. this is pretty cool. Even look at this, they got a little finger here pointing to make sure that you depress this before you slide the whole thing closed. But yeah, what a really neat thing. Thanks so much, Tom Dale, for passing that along. I really appreciate that. And of course, the inspector says hello. All right, let's look at a couple. Let's look at this one right here. This is an old Stanley. This is quite different, but you got to imagine this is what, you know, old timers carried around in their pockets, you know, before they had tape measures. So, right, this one is a Stanley. It's really hard to read on there. And this one, right, these fold out. And then this folds this way. And now you got a really nice 2-foot ruler. This I got from a good friend of mine. My friend Ty bought this for me as a gift, and I think it's super cool little thing. I should probably put it out and display it. All right, let's take another look at this. And this, right, that's why this one here is made by Klein, because these are popular with electricians. And one reason being is that these are wood and these are not conducting electricity like this. You got this poking around in some big panel or raceway. You know, you're able to touch some live wires, and next thing you know, you're grasping your heart on the ground, and that's it. But another, you know, nice feature about these, especially if you're bending conduit, bending pipe. I used to do a lot of that, a lot of offsets, a lot of 90s and weird angles. But another cool feature about this, say you're trying to find an angle or you want to match an angle, and you can use this as an angle finder for your pipe. You know, it doesn't have to be for a pipe. It could be for anything, but I've used it a lot in the trades, in electrical trades. PVC pipe, when I'm heating a piece of that and I want to get it to the right angle, the nice thing is you can climb up a ladder with this, go up there, find this angle, and now a nice thing to do is to take this, fold this over, right, and where this tip lands, right, we can see that we are landing at 49 3/8, right? So the cool thing about this is now you can fold this all up. Oh, all right. Well, look at that. You know, just giving a demonstration with this thing. This might have been broken beforehand. I don't know. Maybe I just did snap it, but it was kind of dinged up here. It looks like maybe I can glue that back together. Yeah, that's a bummer. But let's see if we slide this back in there. Yeah, look at that. I'll have to put a little glue on that. All right, back to the demonstration here. You know, that, like I said, right, breaking all my dad's tools, you know, I'm still breaking them. All right, so you want to find this angle. So we're looking right here. And then again, right, we bend this down, you know, and if we look here close, you know, 49 3/4, 49 11/16. All right. And again, the cool thing is you can take this, you can fold this up, put this in your pocket, go down, you know, to where you're going to work on your pipe, bring this back out again, right? And then put the bend on this, and then we're going to come and we're going to fold our tip down here to 49 11. And then when we fold this back out, we're recreating that same angle. All right, another great tip for these, if you're using a sight level or a transit, right? Or nowadays, everyone's using a laser, and those are great, right? No one's using the sight level or transit anymore. What are we on, the good ship Lollipop here? I did a lot of work with this, and this is great. I did a lot of surveying for some big pieces of land that I had, some timberland, and this was great. That's actually a fun process, going out and doing some surveying. But this is great if you don't have like a story pole or a measuring stick. You can fold this out and you can get heights with your laser or your level. transit, or if you're working on some footings, concrete footings for a house, and you want to stick down there and get all your measurements, hit this with the level or laser. This is a great tool for that. All right, I think that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me snap up some of my dad's old tools here. All right, hope you guys are all doing great. Thanks to Tom Dale here for sending over some tools. I appreciate that, and I will see you guys all soon. All right, right on. You can fold this all up. Oh,